Hello, Alan. Happy to share the stage with you today and discuss industries of the future and the challenges that we're seeing across water, wastewater, and mining minerals and metals. In my opinion, both of these segments are essential for global economic growth, and we're probably seeing similar growth drivers and challenges.
So, hi, Rob. I agree. We are seeing those two industry segments in a leading role for sustainability and resilience. To cope with the challenges the world is facing, it will need more mineral resources, definitely, and more water. At the same time, we need to invent the solutions in order to run those resources in a more efficient and sustainable manner for energy, of course, but also resource conservation.
Yeah, and ESG, as you know, sustainability, environment, social and governance considerations are going to be critical, especially as we now have the impact of technology also driving specific demand for specific minerals. Copper, nickel, aluminium come to mind, as they're all critical within battery technology and electric vehicles. Also, if we think in terms of the global economic stimulus packages that are designed after COVID, and the impact that they're going to have on specific minerals, such as cement and steel demand, as an example. All of this is placing increasing demand on. We know that where there's economic growth, we see the impact on the demand for minerals, but we also see the impact on the demand for water consumption as well.
Yes, you're right. With the industry recovery, the water resource will be under even more stress as some others minerals. You may not know, but for the water footprint, we could consider that we need 12,000 liters of water to build an iPhone, which is not very well known, but if you multiply by the number of units, it's huge. Another example is that to get a ton of steel requires 250,000 liters of water, which is more than 2 years of consumption for a European family. Also, we have to keep in mind the scarcity. We have more than 2.3 billion people that are living under water-stressed countries, and over 3 billion that are at risk because of health of their water resources. And I would say that the COVID-19 pandemic highlighted this situation even more.
Yeah, we certainly have significant challenges. As apart from water consumption, mining also produces between 4 and 7% of the global CO2 emissions, and steel and cement manufacturing results in about 7% of that. Fortunately for us, there's significant efforts underway to reduce these emissions, and for companies to produce green steel, green copper, green aluminium, green cement, green glass.
Yeah, actually, there is also the same trend in water and wastewater treatment plants to move to microgrid solutions, to have more energy efficiency and also more reducing CO2 footprint for the operations. We have to change the trajectory of carbon emission definitely, and therefore climate change. Just as an example, in 2019, European zone emitted 27 million metric tons of CO2 from water, wastewater treatment and discharge plants. So what can we do to reduce these numbers? New technologies, of course, like reverse osmosis for desalination is a good example of high energy or higher energy consumption. Working also with our supplies all along the value chain. Actually, this is why in Schneider we have been committed for sustainability for years. We are one of the first global corporations to integrate the UN SDGs in our performance measurements, along with revenues and profit as standards. First, we do it by leading with example in our own ecosystem, with our actions, with our suppliers, with our partners across the full extended supply chain. And I would say that we are using our own experience in energy and management plus automation to propose innovative solutions to our customers.
Yeah, fully agree with you, Alan. In Schneider, we're extremely proud of the sustainability credentials and our track record in this aspect, where we definitely lead by example. We leverage our own experiences and when working with our customers in building the solutions to their challenges. Sustainability starts at the source, and transparency and traceability are key as we work with our customers along their full value chain. This not only impacts the environment, but also increasingly impacts aspects such as their business reputation, ability to secure financing, and the ability to attract the best talent.
Thanks, Rob. But how we do it actually? What is the key ingredient to drive this transformation? In Schneider, we have, I think, two main transformations running parallel: the sustainability transformation and the digital transformation. At Schneider, we believe that data transparency and data intelligence will bring industry to the next level. So, Rob, what if we can get an external perspective based on some recent analysis?
Absolutely. An external perspective is always of interest.
So let's connect with a friend, Ms. Diana Liu from Bloomberg. She's is a well-known consulting and analyst firm who has recorded a message for us.
Hi, well, thanks for having me and thanks for inviting me into this conversation. I think this is a really important conversation to be having in this point in time because there's a really interesting shift happening in industry, which is that technology users and technology vendors alike are realizing that the digital technologies that we have and we have been using for years can be a resource to help us get to net zero. So there's been a lot of talk about how to get to net zero, what types of building blocks we need, but oftentimes the role of software and digital technologies is kind of overlooked. And I'm here to say that hopefully that's changing. So digitalization is a really, really interesting lever for sustainability. Digital technologies that we all have in place in our factories, in our mines, in our refineries, et cetera, they've been creating a world of kind of invisible sustainability benefits for a long time. So more and more companies are realizing that there's this world of benefit that's gone uncaptured that is just waiting to be quantified from their digital systems. On the other hand, more companies are also realizing that if we approach digitalization with the intention of harnessing decarbonization good or decarbonization benefit, there's another world of possibilities waiting for us. And those shifts have really started to take speed since 2020. So prior to 2020, digital transformation deals, they were signed for operational purposes, right? So we were looking for productivity increase or yield optimization or safety or lowering cost. But starting in 2020, we're starting to see net zero and decarbonization start to trickle in and rise to the top of the priority list in terms of what clients are looking for as they sign digital transformation deals. So we didn't see that, like I said, prior to 2020. So that's why this is a really interesting time to be having this discussion. A lot of clients, they don't know yet what digitalization can do for them. So for instance, a lot of the applications they have on site, like I said, they may already be creating sustainability benefits that are just waiting to be captured. So a lot of clients, maybe they went remote during the pandemic. They had to institute remote monitoring or install remote operations just in order to maintain stability and continuity of operations. Well, that's great, and that helped us get through the pandemic, right? But that's obviously, those applications are generating fuel savings from having to travel on site and therefore emission savings from all that travel as well. Predictive maintenance is also a really, really common application. If you have predictive maintenance running on your capital machinery, what's that doing for you? It's prolonging the life of your machinery, which is great for your circular economy targets. It's also helping you prevent leaks, spills, other unwanted environmental catastrophes or crises. So there's this world of benefits that's just waiting to be harnessed. And like I said, industry is waking up to that. There are a number of service providers and technology providers like Schneider that are realizing, hey, I have an opportunity to use my portfolio to help my clients reach their net zero goals. And pressure on that is really going to build from 2021 onwards, because as we all know, the race to net zero is really speeding up. There's a lot of pressure and a lot of demand from investors, from customers, from suppliers alike. So we continue to watch this field, and we're excited to see it develop, and hopefully you are too. Thank you.
Thanks so much for joining us, Dania. As we can see, data is at the core of the new generation of industry. And with the convergence of IT and OT technologies, industry can generate new services and new value creation for sustainable development.
So Rob, based on Bloomberg and what we have said already, tell me what is in Schneider mining mineral metals segment approach towards sustainability and digital?
Well, we certainly take the dual approach of transparency and traceability that we spoke about before. As an example, we have a major tier 1 mining house where we're in the process of partnering across multiple initiatives to help drive increased sustainability across their full value chain, which is highly dependent on leveraging insights from their data. This includes aspects such as our EcoStruxure digital advisors and implementing our cybersecurity protocols in integrated operating centers. as well as leveraging our microgrid technology to deliver optimal energy as a service. These technologies are designed to ultimately help this client produce green copper, aluminium, and steel. Interestingly, Schneider Electric also uses significant quantities of copper, aluminium, and steel in our own manufacturing plants, as you well know. So in turn, we're signing sourcing agreements to purchase set quantities of these raw materials from our client. This aligns perfectly with our own sustainable sourcing policies. Typically, we take an end-to-end sustainability approach composed by 4 pillars that are the basis to help reduce emissions and resource uses while maximizing revenues. This way, our customers can take evolutionary steps, such as acting on the energy or the operational efficiency side to leveraging renewables via microgrids or energy as a service practices, as mentioned before. An example of a revolutionary initiative, on the other hand, would be in glass, for example, where we're working to implement high temperature furnace electrification and high precision automation and control to deliver green glass. That's far more of a revolutionary approach. It's worth mentioning that 80% of the emissions in glass is going to come through furnace electrification, or 80% of the reduction of emissions in glass is going to come through furnace electrification.
Sounds great. Sounds great. I think we are in front of really cool stuff in order to reduce the CO2 footprint. But Rob, you mentioned before the criticality of water in mining mineral metals and the challenges in terms of volume, access, and environmental impact. What approaches can we see to address these water challenges in your resource industries?
Well, water is a significant challenge in mining and minerals and the metal industry from both an availability and a cost perspective. As an example, some indicators that are to meet the rising demand in copper that we're expecting due to the increase in copper demand, that water consumption in copper beneficiation is going to increase by 66% before 2025. A project that we did back in 2019 comes to my mind. We did this project at the biggest operational site for copper production globally, where they're building a new concentrator plant. And at this particular plant, water source and availability was the key constraint. So Schneider provided the automation and the energy solutions to enable desalinated water usage in the concentrator. In this way, our customer met both their internal operational and their sustainability targets, as the use of desalinated water avoided the use of very scarce surface or underground freshwater sources. That's one example of a solution or technology to address water scarcity within mining. But Alan, let's talk a little bit about water wastewater and your segment's approach towards sustainability, and which practices do we apply in water wastewater?
Well, Rob, I think that you have made a demonstration that water is critical for industry. And I would say that everybody knows the role that water plays for life. So actually, we are going the same way in the water wastewater segment to, first of all, reduce the CO2 footprint of the process. And the main concern, however, is how the water industry will revolutionize this approach of circularity. Actually, water is known to be everywhere, but it is a limited resource and it's becoming very complex to manage. It starts with a very uncertain resource where scarcity in some territories is combined with climate disaster like floods. So too much water is worse than not enough, as the floods carry a lot of pollution from the cities, the industrial and the agricultural activities.
So Alan, I understand that this fluctuating resource in both quantity and quality has to be managed. But how do we help our customers in doing that?
Actually, water, and you are in a good position with the minerals, water as a value, so it's not yet a cost for the people, or some people are also thinking about having a trading currency with water. So then we are developing simulation software in order to bring the value of the water. And this simulation software and predictions modeling are used to control the actual and the future resources that we can get from the basin, the rivers, and the various reservoirs we can get out there. We combine the data with geology and water forecasts to be able to secure the planification of the resource going from 1 day, 1 month, and sometimes also 1 quarter or 1 year. The new smart irrigation system also is critical to contribute to a better management of the resources. I just want to remind you that 70% of the clear water is used in agricultural applications. By fostering innovation and digital, I think we can provide solutions to improve asset performance, and process resilience as well. The digital integrated solution for clean water and sanitation has been highlighted by the COVID-19, and therefore the development of the advanced process control solutions to improve the quality of the water for the community, or for special process, I would mention electronics, for instance, is becoming on top of the agenda of most of the industry. Reducing the use of chemical is also a big contributor to the circularity for more sustainability in cities and communities. However, the plant is very important, but I would say network management represents the most critical infrastructure and concern for the water utilities. Across the world, we have either aging infrastructures or to be renovated infrastructures. For such application, we provide also, again, simulation and control software to avoid the nightmare of the water industry, which is the water leak. And I would say, for instance, that a company like Anglian Water in the UK have been reduced the water loss by 10 million liters per day, thanks to some digital solution we helped them to develop together.
So it appears clear that in terms of sustainability, embracing the advantages of digitization is part of the solution?
Absolutely, Rob. Utilities, along with industries, should now invest in digitize to manage the end-to-end water life cycle. The future is now, and it is data-based. This is a team effort that we have to bring together with IT companies. Partnerships and strategic alliances are the core of the next business transformation. But let's talk about it, and let's welcome a worldwide leader in IT technology that is also committed to sustainability. So let me introduce my friend Paul from Microsoft. Welcome, Paul.
Thanks a lot, Alan and Rob. It's great to be here with you, and it's so inspiring to see how Schneider Electric is driving the topic of sustainability. Seeing this passion today is yet another confirmation of the great partnership Schneider and Microsoft are having.
Yeah, we fully align, Paul. And in turn, we're very aware of Microsoft's view that sustainability is a fundamental element within your company. Indeed, you set some new objectives in 2020, right? What's Microsoft's approach to embrace those?
Absolutely, Rob. Similarly to Schneider, we do appreciate the role private enterprises ought to have in driving towards a sustainable future. For that reason, Microsoft has set some ambitious objectives in 2020, touching on 4 categories of sustainability. Firstly, we want to become carbon negative by 2030 and remove all emissions since Microsoft's founding by 2050. Then, we strive to become water positive and a zero waste company by 2030. And lastly, we work to protect the Earth's ecosystems, for which we are building a planetary computer to run complex simulations on natural systems. Now, these efforts touch our internal operations and stretch to our external stakeholders as well, including our customers. However, given the highly specific nature of the sustainability issues our customers often face, we do understand the importance of strategic partners who can help to deploy the technology foundations we provide in domain-specific contexts. Consequently, we've built up a broad network of highly specialized partners. These include Schneider and AVEVA as part of our top 8 key partners for the sustainability mission.
Yeah, I can imagine that our viewers are curious to understand what this collaboration looks like in practice. We were talking before on how technology can improve sustainability, regardless of which industry we are in, but especially in mining mineral metals and water, of course. Can you elaborate a little bit, Paul?
That's a very good thought, Alan. Especially in this partnership, Microsoft has the technology and capabilities to support in various different ways. Let me highlight 4 of them today. 1, the benefits of deploying technology start with simply gaining transparency. When the appropriate sensors are in place, data from different silos and sources needs to be synchronized, often combined with legacy data. All the while, this data has to be protected from external threats. Now, secondly, when you have that transparency, you can use the resulting insights to base future decisions on them. Those decisions can be made by humans on the basis of that data that is appropriately visualized, or based on insights drawn from machine learning that extract sophisticated insights from this data. Beyond that, further optimization potential lies with artificial intelligence, which makes sustainability decisions in real time. Now, thirdly, Specialized computing solutions can meet any specialized customer requirement, from high-performance computing to orchestrating any constellation of cloud-to-edge computing arrangements. And lastly, Microsoft provides a broad range of solutions that help the operator to seamlessly run the underlying systems. Now that starts with Teams, where we're working on today, and ends with augmented reality solutions. Now all this culminates in a setup with Schneider that I believe is working remarkably well. Microsoft provides the backbone technology, and then Schneider takes these functionalities, adds the vast amounts of domain-specific expertise, so that we jointly develop the solutions that provide true value to our industry customers. We have also developed a unique collaboration with Schneider to provide a full-scale operating center for a water authority in Europe. The end user wanted to drive efficiency as well as sustainability in a multi-district and multi-utility environment, regulating major industry and wastewater quality and resources, treatment of contaminated land, environmental conservation, and ecology. He wanted also to drive standardization in user experience to improve workforce enablement and efficiency. Finally, the system should provide compelling proof of compliance and resilience. The operating center solution we have jointly developed is meeting all these requirements and will help the customer to operate more efficiently and sustainably.
Yes, and just to complement Paul's view on the projects around, I would say, management center, I would mention that in collaboration with Microsoft, we have developed for an utility and application based on platform as a service, cloud-based, of course, and software as a service with data analytics modeling that is hosting 8 different systems and connecting with various applications out there, like, for instance, CRM or even ERP, that the customer use case requested. And as such, we are delivering a very unique digital solution in order to manage in a proper way what we consider to be essential for life, the water, and all the industry activity going along.
There's some really interesting insights from Microsoft and Paul. What I really took out of this conversation, Alan, is that partnerships are key, as sustainability is not possible without a strong collaboration between all stakeholders.
Yeah. Thanks, Rob and Paul. We appreciate very much our collaboration together with Microsoft. And I would say that data and technology are, of course, key enablers. But actually, data is not the end of the story. The real business value is delivered by the services and the new services that we can realize. The benefits of the technology is triggering ROI, and our industries are still very much focused on return of investment, being efficiency or sustainability. A company like ours, Schneider Electric, provides multiple consulting services and digital services in order to generate the value, and therefore, based on the solution we have built, provide advanced services and deliver actually the full value of the digitization for real, not in theory. And this is the gap that some industries are still facing. So we provide advanced services for energy sustainability and cybersecurity, from audits to execution and operations.
Thanks, Alan. I think the points that you've raised in terms of services is critical, because that really emphasizes our focus across our customers' full value chain. Consulting services, digital services, our energy sustainability services, and our cybersecurity are all critical if we're looking at the customer's full value chain. So, Alan, on that point, I think it leads through, as I wanted to finalize this talk today with the Corporate Knights recognition that revealed that Schneider Electric is the world's most sustainable corporation in 2021. This is one of the most coveted rankings in sustainability and a great recognition of our long-standing leadership and positive impact that we've had in this sustainability field. And it's a real achievement for all of us within Schneider Electric. So, Alan, I think that concludes our session today. It's been an absolute pleasure co-hosting this talk with you today and having Dania and Paul as our guests.
My pleasure, Rob. And remember, Schneider is here to partner with you along your road towards sustainability. Thanks to you all.